Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I first discovered the disadvantages of being single quite late in life, actually. What had happened was that after I had graduated with my PhD, I briefly lived with my parents to take a job near our hometown in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was living the happy solo sexual marriage life. I really didn't need a second set of hands. I had most of my meals taken care of for me. I had a lot of chores taken care of. I contributed to the house, but I got a lot of things taken. I had three other sets of hands, right? I had a younger brother and then my two parents. And I contributed to that, but I also had so much extra help. And it never occurred to me I would ever want to get married, right? There, at the time, there were probably plenty of girls who were chasing me, and I hardly noticed it because I didn't need it. And I don't really have a romantic interest in dating, to be honest. It's more of how do I find a life partner. Well, I eventually took a job across the state in New York, and I quickly discovered the disadvantages of being single. What had happened was I was working at a technology startup, and one day we had this really difficult problem. All of my colleagues had gone home. Most of them were married. Some had kids. Some had other commitments. And I came up with an interesting solution to our problem. It was 9:30 in the evening, and I jumped up and down to celebrate. And I was kind of sad because there was nobody in the office to commemorate that occasion with me, but I still jumped up and down to celebrate by myself. We worked out of a very tall skyscraper. We had a floor in the skyscraper, and I got out of the building into the subway, and as I boarded my subway, it hit me that, oh my God, I don't have dinner ready at home. I was 27 years old, and it was the first time it ever crossed the mind that I had to prepare meals for myself. I mean, I have prepared meals for myself, but in the past, we took turns, right? And I had to look up some restaurants in the area. And you know what? I discovered a few nice restaurants. Anyhow, I was making good money at the time. It wasn't like it was a financial drag or anything. And I discovered some good restaurants, and I met a few good people through eating out. It wasn't the end of the world, but it really hit me like a ton of bricks that, number one, I was the only one staying there late. And number two, I had no time to cook for myself. Now, fast forward 10 years later, and I quickly realized, now that I've returned to the dating scene, I kind of took a break for a little bit. Now that I've returned to the dating scene, I quickly discovered how much lack of time pigeonholes dates, right? Not only lack of time for myself, but the people I'm trying to date also have time commitment issues, right? And right now I'm kind of in a, well, I was, but I've kind of made my mind with somebody else. But I was kind of, we were just playing chase with each other on who has the time. And you know what's really funny? This past year, I had a couple of long distance relationships in two different countries. And as much as it's long distance, we actually have more time with each other. And she's been asking me, when can I visit? And so compared to here in the so here's the problem in the US. You don't have time to date in order to meet somebody that will save you time, right? It's kind of like how a lot of people deal with their money, right? Lack of money makes everything so much more expensive. Similarly, lack of time makes it impossible to plan for the future, to have more time in the future, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.